Hi guys, I'm Cory. I'm with the RBAC program. I'm a therapist and I'm here with Fernando. And he is a care coordinator, family support, and skills trainer in the RBAC program. We're here to show you how we conceptualize our cases and use them in our staffings. So I'm going to start off by showing you the components of our conceptualization. So we start off and we make sure to highlight strengths. And this is a really important piece because we want to make sure as we're talking through these cases and getting feedback that the strengths are highlighted so that it can give us insight into what to use to engage the family or the child, how we can help the information connect with them. Our next is challenges. And when we've had a case for a long time, you're usually going to see more here. In the beginning, maybe there won't be as much. And a lot of times we're going to highlight something that is kind of a barrier at this time to treatment. And then below that, we have themes, which to me is one of the most important pieces. This is really where we can kind of get perspective and help reframe things so that the family has perspective. It also helps, in terms of treatment and intervention. Without those themes, it's really hard to get on the right path. Next, we have services. So we make sure that we put in this box all of the services that the family is receiving. This is typically a question that will come up in staffings when we're talking about certain challenges. That way we can see where they've been, what they've done, and then what they're also getting that we can partner with those other providers. Our next box is where we highlight recommendations. So typically when we staff the case, we will take notes in here, or sometimes we'll take notes somewhere else because we need more room, to be honest. And then up here, we like to highlight what phase we're in and the number of sessions just to give insight. So phase 2 would be where we are building skills. Phase 1 is engagement, and phase 3 is skill integration. This is really important. Sometimes we realize as we're staffing that maybe we're in a different phase than we thought, and we can come to that just through talking through some of the challenges, the themes, and what we've done in treatment and intervention so far. Sometimes we figure out that we're actually maybe a phase ahead, and sometimes we figure out that we're a phase behind. But I will say that most of the time we're on par with where we're really at. So now I'm going to let Fernando take the mic and model how we would go into this during a staffing.
Hi, everyone. Again, like Cory said, I am a skills trainer slash coordinator slash family support. In this case, I'll use a pseudonym. Kiddo's name will be Shelly, and mom, since she's a very important part in what we're going to be discussing, her name will be Barbara. We will be kind of talking through how we would represent this. So Shelly, we're currently at phase 2. We're at 30 sessions with counseling and about 15 with skills training. A lot of the skills that we've noticed Shelly has is her ability to be reflective, to be social and creative. She's hilarious. She can be very resourceful. She's energetic, and we've been noting a lot of progress in her increased awareness. Some of the current challenges that we're having is her emotional regulation. She tends to shift from one extreme to another. We are now identifying a lot of sensory needs that we didn't in the past, and we're figuring out how much of that has impacts on her behavior and her emotional well-being. We have been experiencing a lot of moments where we've seen some self-harm. She does currently struggle with understanding a situation through somebody else's shoes. So we are struggling with some perspective taking skills. And we have seen some struggles with flexibility, a lot of boundary issues with peers, as well as sometimes with some members on the CFT. A lot of executive functioning, as we know this kiddo does have the diagnosis of autism and ADHD. A lot of times that comes with that organizational skills being a deficit for them, and we have noticed a lot of anxiety as well. As Cory shared, one of the important parts of these staffings are the themes. We are seeing some common things being connection, how sometimes that is absent in Shelley's life. We've noticed how the family dynamics have played a big part into what headspace she's at, whether it be a lot of drama with siblings or the communication styles of all of the parents and the caregivers. There's loss. Shelley has recently lost one of her very big supporters and her father. So another thing that we see with her is stress, fear, blame, rejection, acceptance, chaos, hope, and identity. Some of the services that she's currently receiving is from RBAC, which is counseling and skills training. I also do a lot of family support for mom. She's receiving New Where I Am services, high needs care coordination, and previous to New Where I Am, she was receiving ABA. At this point is when we kind of talk about what the barriers have been and what we are looking for recommendations. Right now with Shelley, we are seeing difficulty integrating the family into whether it be sessions or into their own ability to continue skills training, for an example. A lot of the times we want to make sure that we are training the parents how to continue on the skill that we're teaching Shelley. And we have been seeing that Barbara, mom, has been in some high anxiety and high stressful moments. So her ability to be able to participate and engage into a lot of what we're doing has been limited in her capacity.
So with this, we would be looking for feedback in terms of what one of our biggest barriers at this time, which is Shelley's sensory needs and how the family dynamics and communication styles in the home impact that. And that's something that we're working with the family with, and it's really difficult to have practice opportunities because those emotions get really high in those moments. And so the yelling and big emotional reactions is somewhat modeled to Shelley by not only mom, but there is an aunt that is a caregiver in the home, and the other children and adult children in the home. And so we're trying to figure out from where we've been to where we are, which, we have noted various places of progress at this point, but we're feeling like we're getting a little stuck in this point because of that. And with the current circumstances, it's difficult to have those in-person sessions for family support and counseling where we get more opportunities to practice with them hands-on.
Yeah, definitely. And something I did miss was when we first introduced what kiddo we're doing. We do tell the name of the kiddo, the age, the diagnosis, and the medication they're receiving.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and we didn't put that on here just because we don't want to give any identifying information away. But typically that would be in the center. And the diagnosis part, plays a big role, though we do talk a lot about, like, we don't want to just focus on a diagnosis. We want to focus on those skill deficits regardless of diagnosis or presenting symptoms. So it is, but it can provide insight, and then whether they're on meds or not. And sometimes we then have conversations about some cultural things when it comes to meds. So depending on the family, that's not the case with this one, but that can come into play when we do our staffings. So at that time, we would get feedback from other team members. We would get feedback from our supervisors. It's really a team thing, and it can be super helpful to get that from outsiders looking in. When we share families, we typically will go through this together, which is helpful because it also creates more talking about it and reflecting and looking from different perspectives. So we get a lot of light bulbs when we work together in that way. So a lot of times we'll create it together and we will staff it together. And that way we get the feedback together. And then we take that and we discuss it further after that to create a plan. So I don't know, that's pretty much in a nutshell, right, Fernando?
Yeah, I think the way that these staffings are set up is, I think it's really beneficial for all new coming people in the RBAC program, as well as all the other people who have been there. Because a lot of the times we see some common themes throughout a lot of the kiddos that we serve. And being able to hear somebody else's staffing, you might hear some things, some symptomology that's common with one of the kiddos you're serving. So you're able to take away from those moments, as well as provide situations where you were in similar settings, and give feedback from there. So it's a really amazing setup.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's actually kind of interesting how often we kind of have an overarching theme for our meetings, like, and it'll be different from week to week, but it happens a lot where the majority of the cases will kind of have the same type of barriers and themes that we're talking through. So I guess that can be super helpful because you're not only getting that feedback and perspective from the one that you're staffing, but also from the other ones that you're hearing. And when you're giving feedback for someone else's staffing, that can also help you with your own. That's happened many times. So this is a super helpful model. And it really, gets you thinking through all the different aspects and areas of assessment that really need to be hit on a regular basis. So I think that's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks, everyone.